Fine. So in the last session, we tested approval group based approval rule definitions. In today's session, we'll see how to configure employee supervisor approval rules. Okay, employee supervisor approvals. Fine. So we have user called as ERP tree. Okay, we'll create one more user. Okay, we'll create one more user. We'll name it as ERP tree MGR manager, and we'll make this user as a supervisor for ERP tree user. After creating a new user called as ERP tree MGR, what we have to do is we have to give the specifications for ERP tree user who is the manager. We'll specify this user as a manager for ERP tree. So what we are going to do is, already we have a user called as ERP tree. We'll create new user, or say employee. Create new user called as ERP tree MGR, who will be acting as a manager. After creating the user, we have to assign, say assign, or else say make ERP tree MGR user as supervisor for ERP tree. After that, we'll create the rule, create approval rule. Okay, this we can create for requisition or purchase order. If we can understand for requisition, the same way you can define for purchase orders also. Then finally we will test it by creating requisition. We'll say this. So we are going to use these two users, or say two employees, called ERP tree and ERP tree MGR. Okay, we have ERP tree user already. We'll go and create the new user, or say new employee, called as ERP tree MGR. Go to manage users. Task name is manage users. Just click on create. ERP tree MGR. We need a username also the same. Select person type as employee. Select legal entity and business unit.
Just a giant Lakshman, are you creating your employee?
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. So we are going to test employee supervisor approvals. For that,
Okay.
we require two users. Employee user already we have, and
Okay.
we are creating one more user who can act as a supervisor for ERP tree. That's all. Now we are creating
Okay.
employee user. Yeah. Done. And here one point is very important. The reality Even if you create the user, now you should be able to make that employee as a supervisor for existing employees also. But in this vision environments, you could see if you create the user, I'm creating the user called as ERP3 MGR, whom we want to make as a manager for ERP3 user. But if you create the hire date after ERP3 user hire date, you cannot make this user as a, or say this employee as a supervisor for ERP3. That is the reason what you can do is, for your testing, when you are creating the any user to make them as a supervisor, always go with the past date hire date. Otherwise you cannot use this ERP3 MGR as a supervisor for ERP3 user. Okay, that you can treat as a bug or something else, but it doesn't work in this environment.
But in reality, supervisor can join anyway, anytime, right?
Yes,
Before and after that
exactly,
also.
exactly. Any point of time they can join and they can become supervisor for existing employees who are working from long period also. But
But
yeah,
it is a business sense, it is a bug, and we should mention
past
previous date then employee.
and current employees. Yep.
Hmm. Okay.
So I'm just giving the year as a 2018. Fine. So we given all the specifications. Say save and close. Since we created a new employee as a employee user, we have to go and reset the password, right? We'll go and do it. That will open one more tab.
This user also we created from security console only, right?
Which user?
This supervisor.
No, supervisor we are not creating from security console. Supervisor we are creating from manage users. Yes, if you want to create, you can create it. But if you want to see, uh, if you want to specify this relationship, finally you have to convert that security console user as employee user. We know the process how to convert, right? Additionally, you have to do it. Then only you'll be able to specify the relationship. If you want to create from the security console, but finally you have to convert as employee user. Now go to security console. Find our user. Say reset password. Okay, let it take its own time. So anyway, we created a user. Now new user is ready. Now the next step is we have to make ERP3 MGR user as a supervisor for ERP3 user. Now go to ERP3 user definition. So manage users. So we are not assigning any roles, and we are not converting ERP3 MGR as a procurement agent. The reason, we are not going to perform any transactions. We are not going to perform any transactions from ERP3 MGR user. This user we are going to use just to route the approvals based on the relation. Just 1 second. Yeah, done. So now find our ERP tree user. The first one. Select and go to actions. Say manage users. And for this user, okay, take a different one. Username is ERP tree, right? Yes. For this user or for this employee, if you want to specify the manager, here you can select the manager. So the manager name is ERP tree MGR. If you create ERP tree MGR after this ERP tree user hire date, okay, you cannot find ERP tree MGR here since we created this ERP tree MGR prior to ERP tree user creation date or say hire date. We can find now by search. Search for ERP tree MGR and select as a manager or say supervisor to ERP tree user. We specified ERP tree MGR is supervisor for this ERP tree user. So save and close. Created. We create a relationship also. Now we'll create the approval rule. So we can create to test this. We can directly go with the requisition or purchase order. We'll test for requisition. Say requisition approvals. Manage requisition approvals. We'll go with the same node. It's already enabled. Click on edit rules. So anyway, these and all we tested. I'm going to disable. Okay. Now we'll create the new rule. Click on create. Employee supervisor. Add condition. So attribute we can go with the requisition BU. Okay, if requisitioning BU is equal to ERP tree US business unit. Then what is the action? So route using not approval group supervisory hierarchy. If requisition BU is equal to ERP3 US business unit, then system has to route the requisition through supervisory hierarchy. Approval chain of, yes, preparer, from preparer it has to start, and who is the starting approver within that hierarchy? Manager. So any user is going to, any employee is going to raise the requisition, directly it has to go to manager only. Manager will take the initiative of approvals. Number of approval levels. Number of approval levels means, say we have a user called as ERP3, and ERP3 supervisor is ERP3 MGR, and again ERP3 MGR will have his supervisor ERP3 some senior MGR. So in this case, if ERP3 is going to raise any requisition, that will goes to ERP3 MGR. So ERP3 MGR will approve, then that would get approved. Or else, if you want to have a approvals, the organization, ERP3 user will raise the requisition, that goes to ERP3 MGR. Again, that should be approved by manager's manager. Means ERP3 senior manager. That means when ERP3 user is going to raise the requisition, that has to be approved in two levels, not only just by manager. The ERP3 users manager's manager also should be approved. That means two levels, 1 and 2. So that you can specify number of approval levels, whether it has to be approved by just manager or manager's manager also need to be approved. Those you can specify. So in that case, again, for ERP3 MGR user, you have to specify ERP3 senior MGR as a supervisor for this ERP3 MGR. That relationship you have to build, so that here you can specify two, then system will route the approvals by following that. Now we are going to give only one. That means when this user create the requisition, it goes to his manager. If his manager is going to approve, that's more than enough.
What about approval limits here?
No, no
If it is
limits.
more than that,
No limits we are specifying. Any. If you want to specify the limits and all, so here you can write one more condition. If requisition BU is equal to, so ERP3 and requisition amount is equal to so and so, then you can specify that can be approved by the preparer only. Okay.
mhm.
If it is it, that's how you can set the amount, and the rest it will be root. So more than so and so amount, it has to follow the supervisor hierarchy, and all this you can specify. Now here, ideally, we are not allowing the preparer to approve anything. Everything should goes to manager. Manager has to approve. Okay. Now here,
Okay.
yeah, top worker in hierarchy. This is basically not required, but they made it as mandatory. So if you are following this hierarchy, for example, if you are going to follow this hierarchy, if you are going to set two levels, here who is the top approver? ERP3 senior manager. So this name we have to provide. Now we are following this hierarchy only. So employee will submit, supervisor has to approve. So you can provide the supervisor, but here we are not writing this rule to specific user. It's a very generic, which is applicable for all the users who are working for ERP3 US business unit. So even that is true, here any one of the supervisor name you have to specify. Okay, any one of the super user name you can specify, but don't think based on that supervisor these approvals are routing. Just whenever user is creating the requisition, it will verify who is the supervisor, and it will send the approval notification to that supervisor only. But as a part of definition, you may have a hundreds of supervisors, but any one of the supervisor name you have to specify here. That's all. Okay, we have to specify the top participant who is in the top level within the organization in terms of hierarchy. It could be one level or two levels or three levels. So now here we are specifying ERP3 MGR. Don't think we are specifying ERP3 MGR here. That is the reason notifications will goes to ERP3 MGR. No, always system will look at who is the user creating the requisition, and who is that user supervisor. Accordingly, it will route the notifications. As a part of definition, here you can take any one of the supervisor name if you have multiple. So that's how you have to.
So Lakshman, in this case, so it will take whatever the level of, let's say, if that manager is senior manager, so anyone, let's say, uh, I'm defining for myself, and if my peer will raise a requisition,
Hmm.
so it will go up to his superman, senior manager, right? Is that the way it works, or
The supervisor only
because
goes to the supervisor.
yeah,
Just
but this is the thing we are defining. It's a top hierarchy. Let's say I want to
top.
stop this at, let's
No,
say,
no,
senior manager,
one
right?
second. Within the hierarchy, you are going with how many levels? Only one level. Within the hierarchy,
Yeah.
top level, top worker in hierarchy. Level is only one. Okay, within the level one, top worker in the hierarchy in the sense that supervisor only. If you set level as a two, you have to
Yeah.
specify supervisor. Any one of the supervisor. That's all. See,
So my confusion is like, that here we are giving the name of the person, right?
that's what
ERP3
I said.
and
I mentioned very clearly. Because of that name, system is not going to do anything. They made the parameter as mandatory to specify any one of the value.
okay.
Yeah.
Then it's just the number
Yes,
of level.
yes, exactly. Okay. So that they made as a mandatory. That's all. That is the reason we are giving reality. If you have a user called as ABC, if ABC is raising the requisition, system will verify who is the supervisor for ABC. That's it. It is not going to send to ERP3 MGR because we give it in the rule definition. That's how it works. Fine.
The
Because of
managers also, they should be a part of procurement agent to get it approved.
No. That's what we discussed. The same point also. We created ERP3 MGR user. We didn't make as a procurement agent, right? We didn't assign any roles also. Okay, not
so
required.
here
Not required.
means what?
Notification will go because within the rule, the name is specified. They can perform the action. It's not mandatory. Only procurement agent definition is required. We have seen list of actions, permissions, right? For those purposes only, not to get the notification. Notification any user can get. Okay, procurement
They
is
should be the buyers for
mandatory.
raising the PR.
Rising the PR definitely required. That we have seen, right? Rising the purchase requisition or purchase order, or even to create the supplier definition, right? There are list of permissions at the time of procurement agent definition. Those are applicable accordingly. But for these notifications and to approve, to perform approval actions, so it's not mandatory. The user should be a procurement agent. Not required. Okay, just say save and close and say deploy.
Lakshman, one more thing. So
Yeah,
can we enable multiple rules over here? Like we are defining
yeah,
a
you can do
approval
that.
rules.
You can do that. Just it may conflict while we are testing. That is the reason I am just disabling. Ideally, we create a number of
Okay.
rules.
Okay.
That is it. Okay, we're done. First, we'll test it and we'll increase one more level and we'll test that case also. Okay, done. So we created approval rule. Now what we can do is we can go and create the requisition from ERP tree. System will identify who is the supervisor and the system will route that notification to that approver and we'll go and do approve from the specific user and we'll see the status. Now go to requisitions, purchase requisitions. So we know we have seen how to create the purchase requisitions. Go to more tasks. Within that, enter requisition lines. So any amount, you may select suggested buyer. Say add to cart. So if you want to add one more line, add it, or else say done. And we have that requisition in the cart. You can click on that requisition. Just click on review. So just click on manage approvals to verify how it would get routed once you submit for approvals. It has to go to its supervisor. Already clearly we mentioned this user supervisor is ERP3 MGR.
If you have multiple rules, how it works, Lakshman?
Multiple rules. So tell me other rule what you are addressing.
Just now you disabled one. If you create another one with for the same user with different
No, no,
whatever it
one
is
second,
condition.
1 second. I didn't create any rule for any user. For user wise,
But you did.
right? This is a common. Okay, I'll create one more rule. Okay, one more rule with a different condition. If preparer is equal to so and so, this has to be routed to so and so person. That's how we can create the additional rule. But what are the rules you are creating? You have to make sure that those won't conflict. I can create one rule for standard purchase order, one rule, and say blanket purchase agreement, contract purchase agreement, different rules based on that, different amounts, how it has to be routed. You can create. See in EBS also you can create a number of rules, right? You can create different approval group, different approval amounts, and those will be associating with the documents, different documents, right? Different documents and different kind of mapping, category based,
Yeah. Yes.
and account range and document types, the same. But you have to
Amount
make
based.
sure that those won't conflict. That's all. So clearly you have to specify. Will ideally list out, and there should be proper understanding for system what rule you are creating. You should not express the rule, two rules which will target the same. So these we have to take care of. So now system is showing if you submit this requisition for approval, it goes to ERP3 MGR. You can say submit directly. You can say submit from here. I will log into. We log in as a ERP3 MGR user.
Because we have mentioned level 1 only. If you mention level 2, it will go to up to till senior manager, right?
Yeah, but we didn't create any senior manager association, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that
I understand. But because of level 1, it is going to
correct.
just
No,
supervise.
yeah, even if you specify level 2 also, say level 2 and you created who are in the level 2 and you create a relationship, but it first it goes to level 1. Once it's approved by level 1, then it will goes to level 2. That means approval should happen up to level 2. Different levels, all the levels.
Got it. Thank you.
So that also will test. That's a simple thing. We'll create one more user and we'll map and we'll test. Okay. So now just log in as a ERP3 MGR. So go to notifications. Here you could see action required to approve this requisition. ERP3 MGR is approving. It's approved. Now we can go back to ERP3 user. You can find the status as approved. Purchase requisitions. Go to manage requisitions. So this is the one which we created just now. Okay, 23rd Jan 1000, right? So 1003 requisition number. Status is approved. Now we'll increase one more level. Okay, before that we'll create one more user and we'll just make the relationship. Here what we'll do is we'll create here, right? We'll create one more user called as ERP3 senior MGR and we'll make senior MGR user as a supervisor for ERP3 MGR and we'll update the rule. We'll update the rule because rule we created with only one level. Now we are going to update. We'll update rule to rule with these specifications and we'll just test it by creating the requisition.
We create new rule also, right?
Yeah, you can create new rule.
Yeah.
You can create new rule, but already what are the new rule you are going to create? I mean, most half of the definition is there already existed in the existing rule. That is the reason we can use it. If you are going to create the new rule, in that case you can disable the existing rule. No, not required. You made a plan of it has to go up to 2 levels. Since we don't require just one level, that you can disable it.
Yeah, that's what my query actually. So existing one needs to be if it is different.
Yes. See, in your organization, you are planning to implement 2 levels of routing. So whatever you created with one level, disable it. That's it. Or else modify it as you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you should not keep previous one.
Yeah, that is the confusion. You are telling to the system it has to go one level and it has to go 2 levels. Another way you are saying.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Fine. So now we'll go and create the user called as ERP3 senior MCR.
So Lakshman, regarding the approval rules, if I enable multiple rules and if those rules are conflicting, is there any error statement which your system will be throwing for me?
No, error randomly it will trigger any one of the rule related notification. That's it. It won't throw any error message. It won't show it is conflicting also. Okay. It will go some random selection and it will trigger the notification. Then we'll come to know why this is behaving. When you verify the rules, we can understand. Okay, this is what some other rule also defined. So that's how. Yeah. Manage users.
In that case, in this case, requisition will not approve if it is there are 2 rules.
It would be approved. It will be approved. It will choose any one of the rule. It can be routed with one level or 2 levels. Go with a random selection.
Okay, but which rule it is taking place while submitting the requisition only, we came to know that, right?
Yes, exactly. Before submission, you can go to manage approval. There it will show whether it is going to be submitted to one person, if it is going to follow one level, if it is going to follow two levels, it will be addressing those two levels of the people who are in the queue of approvals by following the hierarchy which we define between these users or say employees.
We are not sure which one it is taking, either first one or second one. Anyone can be, it may take, right?
Yeah.
System automatically.
Based on that, the specification you can understand. If it is showing only one person, that means it's based on the only one level. If it is showing
Okay.
the two levels of people, it just we can understand this is based on the two levels of rule which we define in the system.
Okay.
Here we'll give the name.
The manage approval, the preparer can bypass the immediate manager and forward it to the senior manager. Is it possible?
If you set the rule, what you can do is, if the person has authority to approve, the person can bypass through actions. We have actions. When you are going to approve, you can see some actions. There you can forward to the specific person or else next person as per approval rules. That is possible. You can forward it. The person can forward it, but you can forward to, I mean, to some other person or next person, anyone you can forward it, but it's not like when you have a hierarchy defined and all, you cannot, being a one level person, you cannot forward to the final approver whom you are expecting to approve. System has to, system will verify all the levels approvals are done, then only the document will be approved. Okay. Now you can just provide any one of the email ID, so gmail.com. And again here we are going to create a new employee whom we are trying to make as a supervisor to existing supervisor or existing employee. Just make sure that these dates, so the same date we created other employee, the John 23, and I'm going to make it as John 20th. So it's a prior date to the manager's hire date.
And this problem only for vision or production also we have this problem.
So vision instances only we could see this issue. Okay. So we are giving the name as ERP3 senior MGR. Specify the person type as employee, legal entity, and business unit. And say save and close. Now we have to reset the password for this user.
This actually should be from security console only, right?
Resetting the password should be done at security console, or else what you can do is just at the time of employee user creation, you can provide the valid email ID, and automatically whenever you create the user, system will be sending one link to that email ID to reset the password. Once you click on the link, it will open the separate page. From that page, so system will allow you to reset the password. If you are not providing the valid email ID over there, only the option is you have to set from security console.
Thank you.
Fine. So user we created. Now the next task is we have to create the relationship. So we have to create the relationship. Go to again task called as manage users. Now go to user called as ERP3 MGR. We are going to specify who is the supervisor for this ERP3 MGR user or ERP3 MGR employee. So manage users. Since we created ERP3 senior SR MGR with prior to this user hire date, we can find that user. If you create after this date, you cannot find. Same point. So search and find ERP3 SRMGR. So make this user as a or employee as a supervisor for ERP3 MGR. Done. So save and close. Now go to approval rules to modify. Just click on edit rule. Select here we have to change in the actions. Click on edit. Say 2 levels. So you may be having n number of supervisors at the second level. So out of those supervisors, any one of the supervisor name you have to provide here. Say okay. So save and close and submit it for deployment. Done. Okay, everything is all the setups we completed. Now we'll go and create the requisition and we'll see how system will route. Go to navigator. Purchase requisitions. Go to more tasks, say enter requisition line. These are all just additional information negotiation is required. We are just suggesting who can act as a buyer for this recreation. That's anyway for purchase order creation purpose. Now just add this line to cart. Click on add to cart, then click on done. Now only we have one requisition within the cart. You can click on that requisition, say review. First we'll review. Before we submit for approval, let's verify if you submit this requisition for approval and what rule it will follow and to whom it would be routed for approval. Just click on manage approvals. So as per the level which we specified as a 2, it has to show first it has to go to ERP3 MGR. After approving, that has to be approved by ERP3 senior manager SRMGR. That's how we written. Same it will show. Okay. So this representation says it has to be approved by both. Now, if you look at that requisition status, just let's submit it. Click on submit. Now it goes to ERP3 MGR. You can verify the status. So pending approval. I will log into the application as a ERP3 MGR. Just go to notifications. So not yet received. We'll wait for some time. Yeah.
One quick question. Basically, can I send notification to set up users? Anyone of them can approve. It is possible in this case. Like group of in a two-way email, it will go to the approval. Any one of them can approve. Is it possible?
Anyone?
Yeah. In our cases, some few cases like in our approval, if you go to any one of them can be approval, right? It's not need wait for any hierarchy. That is possible in these cases.
Yeah. You can just directly group the multiple people in the approval group, and you can trigger the notification that it goes. Again, when you are creating the approval group, again we have a different options that we are going to test in today's session only. That is a serial and parallel, or else without that directly you can route that approvals. Yes, you can do that.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
1 second here. You should get the notification. Yep. So action required. Okay. So ERP MGR received the approval notification. This ERP3 MGR can open that. So pop-up block. Okay. So you can approve or you can reject. These are the actions, reassign. So I'm going to say approve. But we just defined the approval rule 2 levels. Now go back to ERP3 user. and just check the status of requisition. Purchase requisitions. Go to manage requisitions. Requisition number is 1004. So still it is showing pending approval because only one level it is approved, other level it has to be approved. To see the details, you can click on the requisition number. Just click on requisition number. Go to actions. Say view document history. Click on submit requisition. So this is action history. So it went submitted for two people, ERP3 MGR and ERP3 SR MGR. It's approved by ERP3 MGR. It is assigned to ERP3 senior manager. Now we'll log into ERP3 SR MGR user.
The history submit it is not showing, Lakshman.
Sorry?
Whereas in EBS,
This
submit.
This user you cannot submit, already done, right?
But in history, it will show you in EBS, right? Whoever submits from starting from.
Stop. One second. And so once again, we'll go back to the same screen and we'll talk on that.
Sure.
Yeah. So ERP3 SR MGR. Now check the notifications. You could see there is a notification to this user and say this senior manager is going to approve. Now we'll go back to ERP3 user. Now you can find the requisition status as a approved, because as per the rule 2 levels it has to be approved. It's done. The status will turn into approved. ERP3. Now you can see the requisition status as approved. We'll just open this. Click on the requisition number. Go to actions. View document history. So you are telling like requisition submission submitted. Here they're just representing this submit requisition. This is equal to
Right.
submit.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. If you click on that same, you can see the details. If this after submitted by this user, how it is routed. It is submitted to this 2 under 2 levels. It's approved. Then finally, task completed as it's approved. Done. So this is how just you can go up to multiple levels as per the requirement. Now we'll test another case, how the parallel approver or say serial approvals. First we'll see serial approvals. So instead of going with the supervisory and all, you can group multiple users and you can make the sequence between those users. So if you submit any requisition or purchase order, how that has to be routed by following some sequence to get approved by the people who are in that queue sequence. Okay, say serial approvals. To test this serial approvals, we have to use the approval group. We will be grouping the people. Again, we will be arranging those people in the queue. I mean in the serial sequence. Now we have a different users, multiple users. Okay, so far we created. So to test approval groups, we created ERP tree 1, right? We'll use all these users. Again, no need to create once again the users and all. What we'll do is we'll go with the first, the request will be created from ERP tree, and it has to go to ERP tree 1. From ERP tree 1 it should goes to ERP tree MGR, and from ERP tree MGR finally it has to go to ERP tree anything you can specify here. There is no rule and all. SR MGR, any user, any sequence you can specify. Here I'll say MGR. So we are going to create the serial approvals. For this, first this would be created by say ERP tree, then it will it has to go to ERP tree user. Once it is approved by ERP tree, then that should be approved by ERP tree 1 after SR MGR, then MGR. We'll see that. This is how the sequence, what are the sequence we are going to create within the approval group that system has to follow. Once by following the sequence, once everybody is approved, then only the document will be approved, which we call as serial approvals. To test this, it's very simple. We have to create approval group by specifying this sequence, then create approval rule with approval group, but within the inside of approval group we are going to have this sequence. We'll see this. Go to approvals, we'll go to approval. What we'll do is first we'll create the approval group. Search for approval groups, manage approval groups. So earlier we created an approval group and just we selected one employee into that group. Now we are going to select multiple employees. Again we are going to arrange those employees into some sequence. We'll see how we can do that. Click on create, say ERP tree approval group AZ means approval group. We are going to have a multiple users. Okay, multiple. The same group will be using for different purposes. That is the reason I'm not writing just as a serial purpose, but we are going to test serial only. So add members into this group. Click on add, click on search. Yeah.
Hey, Lakshman,
Yep.
can you do the dollar amount restriction? Maybe typically that's what the business requirement is going to be.
We'll see those how to
If
set
it is-
those exceptions also. Okay.
Okay.
We'll have
Thanks.
at least 1 or 2 more sessions on this approvals only, so that we'll get a better understanding about these approvals.
Thank you.
We'll cover those also. Yeah. So the top level, first we are specifying ERP tree. Say okay. This is what just here we just discussed the same we are going to follow. Once this request is approved by ERP tree, then it should route it to ERP tree 1. How to specify? So if you want to specify, select the selected member. You have to click on this so that that member gets selected. Now click on add. Now system will ask us, you want to select one more employee into this group to above to current user or below to current user. Say below. Before that, just select this user here, or say employee ERP3 1. So this ERP3 1 should be below to ERP3. That means once ERP3 is approved, then only this ERP1 should approve. Say okay. Now after ERP3 1, who has to approve? ERP3 SRMGR. Select it. Click on add. Search and select the user or employee ERP3 SRMGR. Select. Say okay. So below only, yes. After approving this SRMGR, who has to approve? Who has to approve? ERP3 MGR. Here just we are not going with the names, just we are trying to understand how to arrange the sequence between the employees. That's all. Here we are not considering who is the manager, senior manager, super, etc. etc. That already we tested. So click on add member. ERP3 MGR. Select and say okay. Yes, it should go below. Done. Now save it. We created a approval group, okay, by arranging in the sequence. Done. What is the next step? We have to go to create the approval rule. Go to requisition approvals. Just we are going with the requisition related approvals. The same you can apply for purchase order or say document approvals. Manage requisition approvals. So now we'll go with the serial. You can go with this serial here. Routing you could see as a serial. Okay, routing you could see as a serial. With this you can go and do it. So here first we'll disable it. And you can go with any one of the node. Okay, everything will support, or else we'll go with this header actual approvals. I want to go with this node. I want to use this node, or you can use this node. I think was wrong. Okay, just we'll go with this node. First enable it. We are going with the serial.
What is the pre-approval stage and header stage? No difference. Is that?
Node, we discussed on that point, right? See, pre-approvals means before you submit for actual approvals. If you want to send the same document to someone else who has to approve, that is a pre-approval. And the header stage means the actual approval. The post-approval means once it's approved by the right people, still you want to send it within the organization to approve as a final, you may do it. The pre-approval and post-approval may not be mandatory in your organization. Maybe the actual just direct approvals, if you are focusing, go with the header level approvals. These are not mandatory to set. If you have such kind of business scenarios, you may use 3. Before actual approval, you have a person called as a Mr. B, who is the right approver. Before that, just you want to approve the same document by Mr. A. That may not be that much mandatory, but as a formality you want to submit to A. Once A is approved, then you may go with actual approval. Draft mode approvals you can treat before you send to B, who is the right approver to finalize, to verify and approve. You may send it to A as a draft approver. Where we use the term as a draft in terms of purpose, priority. So that's the real approval only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So based on the requirement, we can choose that node
Yes.
pre-approve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Fine. Now here we could see many rules are already defined. What I'll do is I'll just disable. But these all are not related to our business unit, but there could be some common rules, definition, etc. So instead of testing and finding some issue, let's disable it. So we are not very sure how these rules are created. If all these rules are created by us, yes, even these are enabled, we can go ahead and we can create new rules. Those for sure it will work since we'll have an understanding about these rules.
If you create rules in test instance, practice instance, it will appear here itself.
No, I didn't get you. To test?
Okay. I mean, we have practice instance link, right? If we create rules here, it will appear in this page. I mean, which you are using different link.
No. Those are two different instances.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different. Whatever I'm using, see, wherever you are creating, there you can see. That's it.
Right. But here it will not appear, which we are creating anyway.
Oh, here you cannot because you are creating in a different instance, right? You cannot see here.
Yeah, okay. We are creating. That means okay. I mean, we are not creating any. That's what I mean.
Yep. Almost all the rules we disabled. Since those are not created by us, we are not very sure about those rules. So we'll create what is the rule we require. Just say create. So ERP3 serial approvals. And create condition. Recreation business unit is equal to ERP3 US business unit. Then that should follows the approval group. Which approval group we created as a ERP3 approval group multiple. Within the multiple, what we define? Serial. Some sequence we define. Then say OK. That's all. In which node we are creating within the approval group, how we have members. That's very important. Done. Now we have to deploy this definition. Say done. Okay, now we'll test it by creating the purchase requisition. So go to navigator, purchase requisitions. We should follow the sequence to approve. Okay, we should follow the sequence to approve. Then only system will allow to finally approve the document. So all information you can specify. Add to cart. Click on done.
Can we add items?
Sorry?
Lakshman? Items.
Item added, right? ERP MacBook I selected.
Okay.
Click on review. So this is the item I selected. System is showing the item description. So before we submit, we'll verify if you submit this requisition for approval, how it is going to be routed as per approval rule. Just click on manage approvals. First it will goes to ERP tree. ERP tree has to approve. Then it will goes to ERP tree 1. ERP tree 1 has to approve. And then it goes to ERP tree senior manager. Then ERP tree MGR. The same sequence we created through approval group, right? So let ERP just ERP tree's user is creating the requisition, just submitting. As per the rule, it has to go to ERP tree for approvals also. We'll wait. The notification ERP tree user will receive the notification since ERP tree is part of the approval group for approval purpose. So the ERP tree user received notification. It's like just requisition is just it's I think okay. This is a previous requisition. So the current requisition not yet received. Let's wait for some time. Yeah, now is this user received. Action required. Approve requisition 1005. 20 seconds ago received. So ERP tree is approving. Approve. Now we'll go and verify the status of the requisition. Purchase requisitions. Go to manage requisitions. Still you can see the requisition status is pending. Click on requisition number and go to actions. Just click on view document history and expand this submit requisition. So it is approved by ERP tree. Next it is assigned to ERP tree 1 for approval purpose. Now we have to log in as a ERP tree 1 to approve it. By following the same sequence, all the employees has to approve. Now it is assigned to ERP tree 1, not to ERP MGR, not to ERP SRMGR. Okay, ERP tree 1. check the notifications. So received. Action required for requisition 1005. So this employee also approved. Let's upload or sign out. Just check the status of requisition. Now here we can notice this document is approved by ERP tree 1 also. It's approved. Now it is next level, it is assigned to ERP tree SRMGR. It's assigned by whom? Assigned. ERP tree 1 is assigned. The same like just information you can see. So done. Now we have to log in as a ERP tree SRMGR. Still that status is pending for approval. So check the notifications. So yes, ERP3 SRMGR received the notification and approving. Done. Now check the status of this requisition from ERP3. Say view document history. Just click on submit requisition. Here you can notice it's approved by ERP3 SRMGR and now it is assigned to ERP3 MGR. Once ERP3 MGR is approved, that would be finally the task would be completed. Here you can see the same sequence, some serial approvals. So here you can see the name. This is what I was talking about. Somebody asked how we can come to know because of which approvals this is getting approved. The rule you can see once you place the cursor on that user name and all, the system is showing the pop-up. Sequential participant assigned ERP3 1. The below you can see reason nothing but rule name. Reason is nothing but rule name, what rule you created, because of that which rule it is triggering. This is what I was telling. So earlier it was the pop-up was not coming. The reason is nothing but rule name. You may have multiple rules. So because of which rule what system is triggering, you can find like this. By placing the cursor, you can see reason is nothing but rule name. Because of which rule, that is a reason here. Now we'll log in as a ERP tree MGR and we'll approve. Finally, this document will get approved. Sign out. So verify the notifications. Yes, here is the notification. So say approve. Okay, now you can see the document status is approved. So this is how just you can implement the serial. And we'll just, along with that, we'll just check how the parallel approvals will work. Go to requisition, approvals. Okay, we tested serial approval. I'm going to disable it. We'll test parallel approvals. We can go with the same tar node, parallel. Okay. Here you have it two options. Just now somebody asked, I'll send the notification. I'll send the send that notification to multiple people. If one person is approved, then the document should get approved. If you want to implement that, choose this node. So parallel. Okay, first responders wins. That means anyone can respond. Anyone can just approve, then it would get approved. If you go with a, say, you'll take the same case. We have these four people we have in the approval group. Since we followed the serial, that serial whatever you specified within the approval group system will consider. If you are going with a parallel with the same approval group, it won't follow any sequence. So approval notification will be submitted to four people. If you are using this node, out of four people anyone can approve, then that would get approved. But if you go with the consensus, irrespective of sequence, 4 people has to approve. Who is going to approve first, second, third, fourth, doesn't matter. Finally 4 has to approve, then that would get approved. That is a parallel. In parallel you have 2 options. So you may have multiple people when you submit the notification. When you submit it for approval, it can go to multiple people. If one person can approve that, then notification status should turn into approved. If that is your requirement, go with this note. Okay, the voting resume as a first responder wins. You have a multiple people within the approved group, irrespective of sequence. Finally all the people has to approve, then go with a consensus. Now we'll test this. We have already approved group that is there with the sequence, but anyway this parallel doesn't follow any sequence. We'll use it. First enable it and go to edit rule. So here we could see there is some rule which is already created and enabled. Disable it. Fine, let's create our own rule. So ERP3 parallel approvals. ERP3 parallel approvals. Say OK and create condition. Similar condition. The node is different and we are using the approved group. Requisition BU. If requisition BU is equal to ERP3 US business unit. Then say add action. Then system has to use this approved group. Done. Say OK. So save and close and do submit for deployment. Just click on done. Okay. Now the notification will be submitted to these 4 people, since these 4 people are in the same approved group but not in the sequence. So it's a parallel. Equally the notification will be submitted. Anyone can go and approve. In case of serial, first ERP3 has to approve, then ERP3 1, then SR, MGR. But now anyone can go and approve. Finally system will wait to see whether 4 people approved or not. Then only the document status will turn into approved. We'll see that. We'll go and create the requisition. Purchase requisitions. So enter requisition line. Here I am selecting the item. Item is ERP 1002 is the item number. Item name is MacBook. Enter say $3,000. Equation is negotiated. Suggested buyer is ERP3 for purchase order creation. Then say add to cart.
Just price is coming from we are typing, or
I'm typing. We didn't set at item level. So we will see that point also. I am just manual. I am entering. Just now I entered 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Click on requisition and click on review. Just click on manage approval. So it will give you a preview. If you submit, how it would be routed. Just click on manage approvals. So earlier it shown in the sequence, now it will show parallelly. Scroll little down, so it is showing parallel. All equal. Equal it will submit. Earlier it shown list of 4, but it's shown in the vertically, not horizontally. Here, since it's a parallel, this is how just equal it is showing. Now the preparer who is preparing the ERP tree is submitting for approval. Submitted. Now 4 people has to approve. Who will be approving first, who will be approving next, doesn't matter. Finally system will verify 4 are approved or not, that's all. Doesn't matter who is approving, let this person approve first. Okay, ERP tree MGR. ERP tree MGR. Go to notifications. Let's wait for some time. Yep. This is refresh. Okay, this MGR received notification. Action required. Yes. Approving. No sequence system is following because the node is parallel. Done. Now if you go and verify the document level, you could see 1 person out of 4, 1 has approved. Okay, so out of 4 people who approved ERP tree MGR, the same system is showing here. Just let me minimize this. So it's a tick mark it is showing. Okay, so these 3 people not yet responded. Only this person approved. Here the pop-up shows the same information, but it's just hidden. It's not displaying. If you place the cursor here, yeah, now you can see the reason. Reason what name you written for approval rule, ERP tree parallel approval, the same is showing. Done. Now the other 3 people also has to approve, then only this would get approved. Let ERP tree approve. ERP tree also one of the member within that approval group. Approve. And let's go and approve from other 2 members also. So these 2 people ERP tree and MGR approved. Now ERP tree 1 and SR MGR need to be approved. We'll log in as ERP tree 1. Okay, approve it. Done. Now we'll log in as ERP3 SRMGR and we'll approve. Now we'll go and verify the status. Out of 4, 3 members approved, but not the status still you could see as a pending for approval only. So since one more member is pending for approval, the document is pending from approval for one more person. Purchase requisitions. Manage requisitions. You can see the status as pending approvals. If you verify the document, you can notice here it's approved, the tick mark. This person also approved, tick mark. This person also approved. Only ERP3 SR MGR need to be approved, then the task would get completed and the document status you can see as a completed, approved. Okay, we'll log in and we'll see. Okay, we are going to approve from ERP3 SR MGR also done. Now we'll go and verify the status of our requisition. Okay, now we can see the status as a for 1006 requisition number. Status is approved since all members who are part of the approved group approved. So done. You can click on this. So 4 approved, then it got approved. That's how the task completed. Okay, this is all about parallel and serial employee supervisor approvals. In tomorrow's session, we'll see a few more other options which are part of approvals. So